Welcome in. Belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome on into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. I want to wish you all a happy Friday, October 3rd, as we go over episode 170, a Week 5 preview. And it's my great pleasure to welcome back to the bar Mr. Bernie, a.k.a. Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing today, Bernie?
Let me tell you, Mike, yesterday I opened my water bill and my electric bill at the same time. I was shocked.
Oh no. That is horrible. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the joke. The joke is horrible, not the fact that you were shocked. That's awful. All right. Sorry, guys. In this show, we've got a jam-packed episode for you guys today. We will set the slate for this weekend's prime time and island games. We'll check in on some player news and practice reports, check in on the activity of the waiver wire for the Wingman Fantasy Football League. We will also preview our featured NFL games as selected by you, the audience, and we'll go over this week's matchups in the Wingman Fantasy Football League. But wait, there's more. We'll see the newest power rankings, and we'll also let you in on our starts of the week. We are blessed and graced with another installment of a Fourth and Long with Bernie, and we grab our controllers and select our teams for this installment of our Wingman Jam. And if we have a little bit of time, we will dive headfirst deep into that mailbag. But before we do any of that, I want to make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, I want to start off with a huge apology, okay? First of all, I want to make an apology to Bernie. I want to apologize to you, the viewers, and most importantly, I want to apologize to Woody Marks. In the last show, for some unforeseen reason, I called Woody Marks Woody Johnson like 75 times in a 2-minute span, and not only did I make the mistake myself, but the repetitive nature brought Bernie into my mistake as he also called Woody Marks Woody Johnson, and it's truly my fault. I'm a leader of men, and he followed me down the darkness here. I want to apologize to everyone out there, and I'm truly, truly sorry to Mr. Woody Marks. Did you notice we were calling Woody Marks an old man who owns the Jets?
No, but I do recall seeing, I saw the message in the YouTube comments, and when I saw the message, I do remember saying the name, and I remember feeling like, I don't know, did I say the right name? Like, I questioned myself, thinking, oh, I don't even know who this player is. I just need to make something up and keep talking, because I'm like, I don't know. So, luckily, there's not too many Woodies that we talk about, and we kind of had an idea anyway. So I think it's okay. Hopefully, he's got a drop. We said his name once in the episode, and he's got a drop already. That says a lot. There's players that we've been talking about for a long time, and they don't have drops like that.
That's true. All right. So, I just... Listening back, I was like, oh, he's going to fix it. Nope, didn't fix it. Said the same wrong name like 30 times. It was awful. All right, guys. We want to remind you here now that we're in week 5 and the bye weeks have started. So we have 4 teams off this week. The Atlanta Falcons, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are all off this week. Most notably, we're going to be without Rome Odunze, Bijan Robinson, and Josh Jacobs, among others. So keep that in mind as you set your lineups. All right, now for the primetime and island games. On Thursday night, we had the San Francisco 49ers mining for a win as they take on the LA Rams in LA at 8:15 p.m. Also, don't forget, once again, we have an early European game here on Sunday morning, as the Minnesota Vikings will take on the Cleveland Browns in North London, and that'll kick off at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Also, we have here on Sunday night, the New England Patriots trying to revolt against the AFC East leaders as they take on their division rival, the Buffalo Bills, at 8:20 p.m. And the final game of the week has the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars in Duval at 8:15 p.m. All right, Bernie, which of these games catches your attention the most?
The most I would say probably the New England Buffalo game, just because it's an AFC East battle, and I don't think I'd ever say this, but I need New England to win this game. Um, and then, but for real, I want to see what kind of defensive battle we got going on with Minnesota and Cleveland. That's really what I'm interested in, but AFC East by default.
All right, all right. Starting off with the Thursday night game here, we had 6 players in our manager's lineup, starting off with Amazing Spidey, who had the LA Rams defense, who is looking at a goose. Very upsetting. They took our jobs, has Kyron Williams in his lineup, and he is releasing the Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
Kyron Williams is off to an awesome start. Puka Nacua as well in the lineup for Always Right. Got a touchdown on Thursday night as well. Kubert's Rage had Christian McCaffrey in his lineup, who also had a touchdown. Wow, it's a good night for everybody, except for a couple. Crazy Fish picked up at the last moment and threw Demarcus Robinson in his lineup, and he's playing against under 40, who had Devontae Adams in his lineup. So which of these players in their lineups here catch your attention the most? We have a one-on-one with Demarcus Robinson, a streamer, versus Devontae Adams, and that might end up being a pretty much a wash.
Yeah, that is it. But I'm interested in really McCaffrey. Puka is going to do Puka things. I'm interested in McCaffrey and to see what happens offensively when he is the superstar on the field for that team. Not that he already wasn't, but
Right.
he is it.
All right. All right, guys. Now for some player news and practice reports. Let's start out with the San Francisco 49ers who played on Thursday night. We've got Brock Purdy. We were talking about this before, and we were kind of 50-50 on all these guys. It turns out none of them played. Brock Purdy, Juwan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall were all ruled out before the Thursday even started, and they were inactive, of course, for the Thursday night game, making way for Mac Jones to make his 3rd start of the season for the 49ers in the Thursday night game. What do you have on these 49ers? 3 didn't play, and we have Mac Jones playing through a knee injury, but he's a stud. He's playing well.
Yeah, so I haven't been watching all of this game, just on and off, peeking at it, but I'm not surprised that they're all inactive. I think Mac Jones this should have been his 3rd start, and I don't think he should have stopped and then started back again. And then Brock Purdy would be coming in the next game, and he'd be fine. So, I'm not saying I know better than Kyle Shanahan and whoever else is over there, but
I'll say it.
Yeah,
You do.
No, but this is a good game. They're playing well. The backups are all playing well. So good. Go 49ers.
All right. We have Lamar Jackson sat out the practices on both Wednesday and Thursday. At the moment, he's listed as doubtful for week 5 as he's dealing with that hamstring. And at the moment, he's considered week to week. But keep in mind that we did mention that he has a bye in week 7. So unless they lose this week, there's a pretty good chance he's going to be out for the next 2 weeks of gameplay and 3 weeks of NFL time here. Trey Benson, kind of proud of our show here, Bernie. A lot of people were kind of in and out with this. And just because of the timing of our recording, we were a little bit ahead of this in terms of looking to pick up Michael Carter and Amari DiMercato, as Trey Benson was a little day-to-day as he missed a voluntary workout, but he was placed on the IR, expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. And like I said, this means Michael Carter and Amari DiMercato are going to share the backfield in a juicy matchup this week against the Titans. And we had Braylon Allen, another one we were ahead of here, suffered an MCL sprain, and the Jets lost to the Dolphins on Monday night. He too was placed on the IR. I'm not sure of his long-term prognosis, but I know he's going to be out at least the first 4 weeks. We'll just stop right here with these 2 running backs and Lamar Jackson. All these guys are probably out. Well, 2 of these guys are definitely out this week, and for 4 weeks, Lamar Jackson's probably out this week as well.
Yeah, the Lamar, that game, I'm kind of looking to see what Zay Flowers can bring to this episode. I think if Derrick Henry can get back on schedule, that will open up Zay Flowers a lot. The Miles Sanders thing, that's a tough one. But I think Javonte Williams is going to be fine. If you're looking to pick up Jadon Blue, then you're pretty desperate.
All right. Yeah, we got a little ahead of me here, but a little spoiler alert. Miles Sanders has not practiced this week. That's okay. That's okay. And it looks like Jadon Blue may finally get his NFL debut. If you wanted to comment back on the other 2 guys we were talking about, Braylon Allen and Trey Benson going on the IR, what do you think about those 2 guys?
Nothing that we didn't we were anticipating to happen anyway. I think DeMarcado is the way to go there, and as opposed to Michael Carter.
You think so? There's a lot of talk as people are going with the two down back as Michael Carter's more of the running downs back, and DeMarcado is the more passing down back. I'm kind of mixed. I pick up DeMarcado. Michael Carter has since been picked up in our league. I'm not sure which is the right play. I think this week Michael Carter is the better play as they play the Titans. But I think
Yeah.
after the Titans game, I think DeMarcado is going to be more valuable in the weeks 2 through 4 or 5 of the absence of Benson.
Yeah, I think both of them are going to be touchdown dependent, and I think that
Yeah.
leans to the favor of DeMarcado. So I think
Okay.
you're not going to get too drastic of a different snap count, play calls, yardage. I think it all come down to touchdown for their value to be anything.
All right, fair enough. I don't disagree. All right, Baker Mayfield sat out Wednesday's practice as he deals with a knee and bicep injury. However, he did return to a full practice on Thursday because Baker's got that dog in him. All right, staying in Tampa Bay, we got 3 more guys at Tampa Bay. Mike Evans has yet to practice. He's expected to miss week 5, but I don't think he's officially ruled out yet. I could be mistaken, but nonetheless, all assumptions are he's not going to play this week. Bucky Irving, this one's interesting because nothing's changed. He's been seen in a walking boot earlier in the week. He has yet to practice. However, he is still considered day to day, and he is listed as questionable. So there's been no activity saying he's going to play, but there's also been no door closing on whether he won't play or not. And Chris Godwin has logged in full practices all week as he begins to round into form. What do you have on this Tampa Bay offensive players here?
Wow, Tampa Bay's colors are not too far off of San Francisco's colors. They better be careful. They may be walking into a trap here. Okay, as far as the running game goes over there, Rashad White, Rashad White, Rashad White. If he's available in your league, pick him up. If you have him on your bench, I would just go ahead and start him. As far as Mike Evans and stuff, what do you always say? When is the veteran days of rest? Is that what this is? I don't know.
No, he's
Um,
out. He's out.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. And then Baker Mayfield, because Mike Evans is out, because Bucky Irving is out, I think that what needs to happen is the coaches need to protect Baker from himself. Um, Baker can't afford to try to do too much and take the game over. So Baker needs to just play it calm, take control, do what he needs to do, trust his other skill players, and not put too much on his shoulders because he could get hurt and be out for a long time.
All right, very good. All right, moving over to Tennessee, we have Calvin Ridley has yet to practice this week as he's dealing with a knee and elbow injury. And Tajay Spears returned to the field in a limited capacity as he returns from the IR. I anticipate him being activated this week. If not, it'll be shortly after this week for next week. Let's just stay here real quick with the Titans. Ridley is not practicing. He was a little banged up during last week's game. They reported after the fact, which might contribute to his lower snap count. Do we think Ridley's in jeopardy of missing this week?
Um, with a lower and upper body injury, if he's not missing, it's definitely going to be uh, low on the snap count, I think, or low on the target shares. So I don't think Ridley is. It's too risky of a play. I would not be playing or starting Ridley. That whole Tennessee offense, though, they're going to have flashes in the pan, and that's it. They're not going to have any substance at all for an entire game.
I will say I don't. They haven't showed anything that shows that they can play well, the Titans. But in my opinion, the way I was looking at them the whole time, their beginning of the year schedule was brutal. Again, they haven't shown too many flashes, but this is a team that can only go up one as they get more just used to playing like with the rookies with Io Manor and Ward. But they're playing their toughest defenses now, and I think it's only going to get easier. Whether or not they can take advantage of that or not, or learn from their mistakes, is another question. But these are guys you can buy a dirt cheap, buy low kind of guys. I'm not sure if they'll rebound or not, but they definitely have a chance to, considering that the hardest part is now behind them.
Yeah. As long as you can stack your own personal team wins early so you're not dependent on a definite 10, 15, or 20 burger out of them.
All right. Moving over to the nation's capital here, we've got Jaden Daniels returned to a full practice. Hello, that's helpful. But Terry McLaurin has already been ruled out, as well as his teammate Noah Brown. And Deebo Samuel missed Wednesday's practice. The early report was said that he returned to practice on Thursday, and then it was corrected, saying that he also missed Thursday's practice as he's dealing with a heel issue. They've already determined who's going to be traveling with the team or not, as in Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown will not be traveling. Deebo Samuel, although he hasn't practiced yet, will be traveling with the team. This gives me some hope that he will, at the worst, be a game time decision, and at best be a questionable player who's going to play. What do you have about these guys for the Commanders here? Jaden Daniels on all the wide receivers.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is good to go here. I would just keep a close eye on what kind of game script they give him, though. This could help his assets a little bit, but obviously with McLaurin out, there's another guy that I've been eyeing, and I didn't want to say his name last episode because I didn't want anybody to get him, but I'm going to say his name now. It's the other McCaffrey. The other McCaffrey,
Luke.
yeah, he might be coming on strong. He might be stashed at the back of a bench for late season antics. I think he's getting the time, he's getting the reps, so he looks good. I mean, he doesn't look bad, and if he's got any sort of genetic resemblance to his brother, he could be a beast.
Interesting. He did score a touchdown, I think, last week, or he scored at least one touchdown with Mariota. I'm not sure if it was last week or the prior. All right, we got Brock Bowers is still nursing that knee injury that he suffered in week 1. He was limited on Wednesday, but he regressed and did not practice on Thursday. That means with the DNP calls into doubt his availability for week 5. JJ McCarthy is still not practicing with the team, listed as doubtful for week 5. And the likelihood is that Carson Wentz will make his 3rd consecutive start in North London on the Sunday morning game. And we have Dylan Gabriel in that same Sunday morning game has been named the starter for the Cleveland Browns for week 5. Joe Flacco has been sent to the bench and will be the number 2 as rookie Shedeur Sanders remains in that 3rd spot. All right, what do you have on these guys here? Brock Bowers, the Minnesota quarterbacks, and the Browns' new quarterback, and the ones backing him up.
So Carson Wentz, I think this is probably not going to be Justin Jefferson's game. This is probably going to be what's a running back, Mason. This might be a little bit more of him. Carson just if it's not a clean pocket, if it's not all going his way, it's just not going to be pretty. And that's what Cleveland's defense can do for you. As far as the Cleveland Browns go, what I think is that's what I think about that.
Wow. Okay. It took me a second. I got it. Okay. I was like, I lost you. Okay. I got it. Very good.
That's for all our viewers that tune in to watch our show on YouTube.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, I lost connection. Oh, I see what you're doing now. It took me a second. Okay. Very good. All right. CeeDee Lamb has begun his rehab drills, but has not officially returned to the practice field yet. Lamb is set to miss his 2nd consecutive game. Staying in Dallas there, Kevontae Turpin is now dealing with a foot injury. He set out practice on Thursday, and there's a real chance that the speedster may miss week 5. What do you have on these Cowboys receivers? You've been kind of, again, it was low volume type of plays, but you were kind of leaning towards Kevontae Turpin over the Jalen Tolberts, for example, but it looks like Turpin's banged up as well.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Pickens is going to have his pick of whatever pass or route he wants, I guess, in this game. We just talked about the running back over there. Williams, is it?
Javonte Williams.
Yeah, Javonte Williams. Yeah. I think him and Pickens might just have an outstanding game. Dak might have an average game. He's not going to hit his ceiling or anything. But definitely Pickens. If you got Pickens on your team, no reason to sit him yet.
All right. We've got Taysom Hill continues to log in limited practice. I'm actually really surprised how far along he is here. And there's rumblings that he might actually be activated from the IR as early as this week. All right, another receiver here in Indianapolis, Michael Pittman Jr. was added to the injury report on Thursday with a hamstring injury. His Friday of practice availability will be a huge clue on whether or not he will actually be able to play on week Friday. So definitely watch those practice reports for Michael Pittman, but there was a downgrade throughout the week here. Xavier Legette, who has missed the last 2 weeks, returned to a full practice this week and looks like he should be returning to action. And staying in Carolina, Chuba Hubbard has not practiced at all this week as he's dealing with a knee injury. If Hubbard cannot play, Rico Dowdle is in line to get an increased workload, and I think he's a very sneaky start. What do you have on these last guys here? Taysom Hill, Pittman, Legette, and Hubbard might miss.
Yeah, so I'm gonna circle Indianapolis here because our buddy DJ he needs to get back on track, and I think that with Pittman out, we're gonna see what kind of coach this is for Indianapolis. If this kid Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell, if he's able to get a good amount of targets, get a good amount of routes, then and make the catches, make the plays, then I think that Indianapolis is on the right road to make it deep into the playoffs. So we'll see what kind of character this team has. Adonai Mitchell might be my sneaky play of the week.
What do you think about Chuba Hubbard here? There's a chance he might not play. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal, especially because that's the most exciting thing on that team, right? I mean,
well, they're playing Miami too, so it's a good matchup for them this week.
Yeah. So how did who was Braylon Allen? Oh, I'm sorry, was Brees Hall? Was he over? I'm sorry, was he a high pointer on the Miami game? I can't remember.
He had over 100 yards. He had over 100 yards altogether.
Yeah. So yeah, Rico Dow. I agree. He's a sneaky good play here. I think Chuba, if they're smart, he's not going to play.
Gotcha. All right, moving along to the waiver wire activity this week in the Wingman Fantasy Football League. We had 6 waiver bids on 5 NFL players, where only one player received multiple bids, and our multiple bid was our highest price acquisition this week. The vaunted Indianapolis defense went for $3 to Lion Eyes, who outbid Red Sox Nation, who put in a $2 bid. Amari DiMercato, again, we were ahead of it. I got a little proud of us there, Bernie. Went to Amazing Spidey for $0. Mac Jones went to Amazing Spidey for $0. Again, getting ahead of all this stuff here. Aaron Rodgers, even though he's on bye here, went to Cubert's Rage for $0. And Team B, Bernie picked up Will Reichert for $0 as well. Any of these pickups catch your attention? No one overspent, all $0 bids. The only one who put a $3 was the perfect bid to outbid his competitor.
This is pretty typical when bye weeks start, right? The defenses and the kickers are going to start moving to the top as long as the waiver pool is pretty thin with the 14-team league. So I think this is good. This is typical of what the first bye week would look like, I think.
And I did notice after waivers ran on overnight Wednesday morning that when the players became free agents, there were just as many pickups via the free agency market than there were in the waiver wire market. The one that caught my attention was that you went and picked up our old friend Darren Waller here after the waivers ran. Were you waiting for that, or you obviously put in a waiver bid for Reichert, so you were putting in the waiver bids? What made you decide to wait until they ran to go for Waller?
So with Reichert, I didn't want my conflict of interest again. So I didn't think that. No.
Well, Pittsburgh's on bye, right?
Pittsburgh's on bye. Yeah. So I needed to get a kicker anyway. So having the same kicker at defense is typically what I like to do. As far as Waller goes, most of my bench are handcuffed backs, and most of my backs are good right now. So I didn't have anybody to fill in for Moore. DJ Moore's on bye as well.
Oh, so okay.
I needed somebody to fill in because Rachaad White is going to be going in for me, and I didn't want to put Charbonnet and White in at the same time. So I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope Darren Waller can find the end zone for a second week.
So you're looking to start Waller, huh?
Yeah, probably. Do I not have him in? Okay. I think I'm going to put him in.
No, I didn't
get
that far. I just wasn't sure.
As we speak. Yeah, no, he's not in right now. No, he's not in. Okay, never mind. I got Rachaad White in, and I have Zay Flowers still in. So
you have Rachaad White on your team?
Yeah,
I thought it was on someone else's team. Oh, nice. That's fortunate. It depends on Bucky Irving's availability, but it's trending like he's going to get a big workload this week.
Exactly. So we'll see if for some reason before Sunday's game something happens, then Waller won't get in. But Waller was a safety net.
All right. Okay. All right, let's get into this week's NFL preview where we break down our 3 featured games as selected by you, the audience. Starting off, our game number 1 is the Tampa Bay Bucks up against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. That game's at 4:05 p.m. The over-under on this one is a little low at 44.5, and Seattle is favored at 3.5 points. Bernie, what do you think about this game overall? What type of script you're looking at here? Are they going to hit the over-under here? And Seattle's favored. Who do you think is going to win this game?
So what do you have? 45 and a half. Or I'm sorry, 44 and a half, and then 3.5. Yeah, that's what I got here. I don't know, man. This is gonna be a good game. I don't know if I can call this game. The Seahawks, I think Sam Darnold's probably got uh a better chance of putting up the better numbers than Baker, but I really like Baker, but he's banged up. So Tampa's coming off their first road loss, or their first loss, I should say. And so how does that affect the team? Um, Seattle's on a 3-game winning streak, so that's another, like, both teams are kind of going in different directions, but both are really good teams, I think. Defenses for Seattle's probably a little bit better.
Yeah, this one's hard to pick as well. I'm going to go with the home team to win, but I don't know if they'll cover. That's going to be Tampa Bay. All their games come down to the last minute, so it's really hard to pick Tampa Bay scores here because if they score, they win. If they don't score that last drive, they lose. That's what it comes down to, it seems like.
Yeah, and Seahawks are playing on a little extra rest too because they're coming off of the Thursday night game in week 4.
Good point. Well, let's talk about some of the players. Let's talk about some of the players we're thinking about here. Is Baker Mayfield, who is banged up, but we know he has that dog in him. Is he an automatic starter? Are you at least looking around the landscape before you lock him in?
No, Baker's pretty much up there. If he's playing and it's not like he's wearing a brace or anything, I think he's good. He's in my top 10 as far as QBs go. So I'm saying he's a must start.
Fair enough. I don't necessarily disagree at all. We got Bucky, Rashad, and Tucker. Sean Tucker, the running backs here. This might depend on who's actually available. I didn't realize that you had Rashad White. That's a boon for you. Don't thought we can stay away from the Seattle backfield. Although you have both backfields in this game. So which way you leaning? Because you have to make a choice. At least 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3. Which 2 are you going to play?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and start Walker, and I'm going to start Rashad White. I think Charbonnet for this game is probably going to be touchdown dependent. I think Walker's going to have a little bit more chance to get some yardage. Bucky Irving is definitely going to be a bench and a void for me. I think Walker is good. He's not going to have 2 duds in a row.
Going back to Tampa here with their receiving core here, Godwin was on the field quite a bit, made some catches, but also had some, I won't say drops, but ones where when he went to jump for them, as he fell down to the ground, couldn't hold on. Yeah, it takes you a little while to get used to holding on to the ball after heavy contact, whether with a defender or the ground. I think he'll shake that out of him in over the next game or two. Game or two. Is Godwin earned himself an automatic starter? We're going to watch 1 or 2 more games before we get that confidence.
No, Godwin for me is a risky start. I got some numbers here for him. He's got 80 on this first game back here. He had 86% route share and 22% in target share, but he only managed 26 yards. So Seattle has the fewest fantasy points per game to perimeter receivers. So there's a pretty big defensive matchup here for Godwin to overcome, especially without having Mike Evans on the field to run some distraction.
We got Abuka here, who's been very good, but he's also coming along. I'm not going to say lucky plays, but big touchdowns as he's not getting like a lot of catches, but he's getting one big catch every week. Has he earned himself to be an automatic start, or are we still looking for matchups here for Abuka?
No, Abuka is a must start. I think he's definitely good. He's the most productive start to a rookie receiver in Bucs franchise history. So he's definitely a go-to. And I think on the other side, this is a big, not just running back matchup, but this is a big wide receiver matchup, I think.
2 Ohio State guys, right? With Jackson Smith and Jigba and Abuka.
Yep, and they're not too far off of the rankings. I think they're both, they're both really going to set the pace for this particular game. And when we get into our matchups, somebody's matchup as well.
Okay. All right. So we have a K Dot in here. Definitely not good enough to be a flex, but does he earn himself a start as a tight end? He usually does pretty well when Mike Evans is out, although this year he's been a lot less productive than years past.
No, I think they're going to need their full complement of tight ends to block. So whoever the better blocking tight end is probably going to be the one that's in the game. So I would stay clear of Kate Otten.
Okay.
He's probably my 15 to 20 ranking as
Yeah.
far as
Okay.
fantasy tight ends go.
All right, moving over to the Seattle side here. We talked about him a little bit here, but Sam Darnold has been
Mhm.
solid. I wouldn't say he's been bad or good. He's not hurting you anyway. He's been a perfect streaming quarterback. What about this matchup here against the Tampa Bay Bucks? Is he more than a streamer? Is he a start?
He's a risky start, but he's a start for me. The Bucks defense only is ranking 22nd to quarterback play, so it's a potential shootout could increase that. So depending on the game script, and I think like I was talking earlier, the running backs are a big part of this, but those two receivers are going to be a huge part of this as well. So I think Sam Darnold is going to be a sneaky good play, but he's still a risky start because he's just a game manager.
Yeah. So we mentioned before you have Walker and Charbonnet. You're going with
Mhm.
Walker over Charbonnet. I don't know if I
Yep.
asked it this way. You told me which two guys you're starting, but could you rank just 1, 2, 3 between Rashad White, Walker, and Charbonnet?
For this week,
Yeah.
I would go Walker, Rashad White, and Charbonnet third.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Rashad White will get more time and action than Charbonnet will in this particular game.
All right. Moving over to those receivers we're talking about here, we got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's earned himself an auto start. Not too much to talk about here. We do have some
Mhm.
streaming options here, though. Cooper Cup, we kind of said it's time to let him go. And Tyler, is it, shoot, I forget his first name, Horton. Um,
Mhm. Torrey.
he's Tory. That's right. I knew some of the T's. Thank you, Tory Horton. He's kind of like your Tutu Atwell type of guy. Not a big time player, but he's on the field. He's part of the offense. It's hard to count on him for stats here. What do you have more on the Cooper Cup Horton? Are these guys have a chance to get in your lineup as a flex, or are we just staying away from these guys?
They're super flexes, man. If you got to be in a pretty deep league to want to play these guys, even with bye weeks going on, they're just not going to get the target share like they should to have any fantasy relevance. They're going to be so long catches with
Yeah,
touchdown dependent. So, in a desperate play, yes, but nothing that you want to count on. That's beyond risky.
fair enough. All right. All right, so now we're moving to our second game on the featured game list here. We have the Washington Commanders at the LA Chargers at 4:25 p.m. Eastern. This one is really interesting to me here as well. The over/under on this game is 48. The LA Chargers are favored by 2.5 points. So what do you have on this game? What type of script we're looking at here? Are they going to get over the 48 points?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might go under the 40 point. No, I'm gonna go over the 40 points. Um, I think that it'll be 24 to 20 uh Chargers.
In Chargers going to take this one. I kind of have a sneaky feeling Washington's going to take this one, but I have no reason to think that really. All right, let's get to some of the players here. We got Jaden Daniels is finally back. I'm assuming we're starting with a confidence, even though he's missed the last 2 games.
Yeah, I think so. I would start Jaden with confidence. He's probably a must start.
Okay, and then we have these.
Um,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say, if you need a rushing upside with your QB, and if you don't mind a little frustrating first, second quarter, dusting the rust off and stuff like that.
All right. Now we have these running backs who have been kind of, I don't know, meandering here. We got Rodriguez and Krosky Merritt. I'm going to break this down in a couple questions. Are any of these guys worth starting, Rodriguez or Krosky Merritt?
No, negative.
If you had to, because you were in a pinch, which one would you prefer to start, Rodriguez or Krosky Merritt?
Mm,
Oh,
Krosky Merritt.
okay. All right. All right. And then going
They're
to
the same. They're the same to me though. You're not going to go wrong either
I
way.
hear you. I hear you. All right, moving over to our receivers here. Both these guys are banged up. McLaurin's been ruled out already. Debo Samuel's missed
Mhm.
practice this week. I have a feeling he's going to play because he's traveling with the team, unless he really can't go here. So, are you looking to play Debo Samuel, or does this injury scare you off, or would you scared off even regardless of the injury?
No, the injury scares me off here. He's a risky start, but I think he's no more riskier than Luke McCaffrey. And then there's the rookie Jalen Lane over there. So I think Samuel is risky, but so is McCaffrey. So if you're looking to start any receiver on this team, you're going to be fine, or you're not fine, but you're going to be in the same boat.
I have to say, Deebo Samuel's been pretty consistent. He's gotten 3 touchdowns this season. Every time he scores a touchdown, he gets double digits, but he's been between 13 and 19 points in those 3 games, and he had, of course, he had 1 dud there with the first game with Mariota here. All right, let's move over to the Chargers side here. I'm going to ask some more questions about this later. Is Herbert earned himself an auto start? He started off the season hot, but the last 2 weeks he's been at 17 points or less. Kind of getting back into his old form here where they're using the running game now as Amari Hampton's been picking up the pace here with his productions. Herbert must start.
You start Herbert if you just want that consistent pocket passer production out of your quarterback. But he's going to have to find his rhythm again, and that's going to be tough because he's facing an O-line that is going to have some injured players on it. Injured starters, I should say, on it. So last game he took like 12 hits, which is not good for his style of play.
All right. Now, Amari Hampton finally broke out well, he's actually had 2 weeks in a row where he's done really well, but last week was a stud. Is he a no doubt starter at this point, Amari Hampton?
Yeah, I would start Amari Hampton. He's facing a defense that has allowed 107 rushing yards per game and 3.6 yards per rush. So I think the rookie, he's got a breakout trajectory headed his way. So he's okay to start.
All right, now we're moving to the spot that everyone's curious about, the receivers for the Chargers. We have Quentin Johnson, who's been a stud. Tutu Atwell with another bomb to get in the field goal range. This guy comes up with big plays at the end of these games. Sorry about that. Anyway, the Chargers, the other LA team, we have Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, and Ladd McConkey. Allen started out the season hot, but it's kind of slowed down last week. Ladd McConkey hasn't had a breakout game yet, and Quentin Johnston's been the model of consistency, being the best waiver wire pickup, in my opinion, so far, and he's keeping it up. So how many of these guys are automatic starts, and can you rank these 3 Charger receivers for me?
Who we got? Johnson, McConkey, and who's the third one?
Keenan Allen.
Oh, my buddy Keenan. I would put them as Johnson, McConkey, and Allen.
Okay, yeah, I don't disagree there. I'm thinking McConkey's got to break out sooner than later here, and I think with the like you said, the offensive line injuries, I think Herbert's going to have to start getting the ball out quicker, and I think Ladd McConkey's that quick in and out break closer to the line of scrimmage. I think he's going to start and get a little more possession receiver play here for Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, he might get more receptions, which will give you the half point in our league, full point in a normal PPR league. But I think that the yardage will end up being the same for both receivers, or close to the same for both receivers.
All right, moving to our next game here, our third game of the featured games here. We have the New England Patriots heading over to the Buffalo Bills. This is the Sunday night game at 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. The over-under on this one is a whopping 49.5, but Buffalo is favored by 8 points. First of all, we got to figure out here, can New England cover this? Or I'm assuming we're going to pick the Bills to win because it's hard not to, but can New England cover the 8 points?
8 points. Well, I don't know. There's too much familiarity. There's too much familiarity. I can't even say the word, Michael.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yes. Between these two teams. So I think the line is a bit steep for this game. So I think they can cover. The Bills are going to win, but I think it's going to be a much closer game than people anticipated.
I'm going back and forth here with how I think New England can handle this. They've been playing really well. They haven't had this. Oh my gosh, they're going for a 4th down. What are they doing? Kick the field goal, tie it. Let's keep going. Let's have another tie this week and this week too. Anyway, I really like what the New England Patriots have been doing, but they haven't had this test yet. And on the road, I'm just I'd be let's put it this way, I'd be very impressed, and then I have no questions for the rest of the season if New England can show up and just make this game close and battle them, back and forth. But I could see them shrinking a little bit under the lights here. I'm just not sure. So with that being said, let's start with some of these New England Patriots starting options here. I've been starting May every week since week 2, I think, and he's been awesome. But I'm a little nervous right now. I have my starting lineup, but I am not as convinced that this week is the automatic week for Drake May. Was Drake May an automatic start this week? He's like the number 4 quarterback on the season.
This game is filled with must starts, so I think Drake May is definitely on that list. Bills are allowing 6 yards per catch to 6 yards per carry to rushers. And Drake May's got that mobility to him, so he could put up some points just with his legs.
All right, now we got to get to these running backs, rather. They've been doing a really three-headed monster and kind of rotating them with no rhyme or reason. Stevenson's had the highest ceiling so far, even though you wouldn't think that amongst these group here. But what do you think about Stevenson, Gibson, and Henderson? How many of these guys are worthy of putting in your lineup? And can you rank these guys for me? These are tough questions here.
Yeah, you got me on the spot with this one. I don't want to start any of them. Ramondre is the one to start. The other two are the same to me. But Ramondre is too risky because the moment he puts that ball on the ground, Vrabel's not going to play him. He's going to get put on the bench, and I think there's a good chance that he's going to put the ball on the ground in this game. So I don't like any of them. Ramondre does stand out above the other two. The other two are the same. They're 2A and 2B.
So we got a stuff on fourth down by the San Francisco 49ers. They're going to win this game in overtime. The 49ers are going to win in LA. Oh, my goodness. What were the Rams doing? I know their kicker stunk. You got to kick that field goal there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, all right. Whatever you do, audience, don't go back and watch the Thursday night preview from last episode.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, I don't know if New England can do this, but every time we pick one of these teams, that upset happens almost every time.
Yeah.
All right, now going to the receiving options. So, sorry, Henderson's been looking to break out. Like, he's got the preseason buzz. He's got the speed. He's got all the attributes here, but the coach just will not unleash him. I thought last week was be the chance for Henderson to get that big breakout game against the Carolina Panthers. He did score a touchdown that had it his best game of the year, but he really wasn't any more involved in that Carolina game than any of the previous other ones. He just got a short touchdown due to Hunter Henry being dragged down at the inch line. Going to those receivers, are Diggs, Boutte, and Hunter worth playing in any capacity here? I think Hunter probably deserves a tight end nod.
Hunter definitely a tight end nod. If you need to start a tight end specifically. But the only other person I think is Stephon Diggs. He led the Patriots with 100 receiving yards on 6 catches last week. So he's a pro. He knows what to do. If he gets the timing and more reps with Drake May, then he's just going to be good. So Stephon Diggs is the way to go there.
All right, moving over to the Buffalo side. Some of these are really easy and some are a little sketchy here. We got Josh Allen's automatic start. James Cook is one of the best this year. Now we go to the receivers. These are the ones we have to talk about a little more here. Keon Coleman, Shakir, Kincaid. Are these guys worth playing in any capacity? Any one of them is worth getting a touchdown in any one of these games. Shakir scored, I think, 2 in a row. Kincaid scored at least 2 touchdowns this year. And Coleman might have had one in week 1, I believe. So they all have a chance to score, but their running attack is what's moving Buffalo around. Their passing is secondary, I think.
Yeah, Shakir is a risky start for me. Coleman is a bench for me. Shakir, though, he's got volume concerns. Coleman, he's got inconsistent target share, so high upside, but too risky of a flex play. So Shakir, if you have to start one of these guys, that's who I'm starting.
All right. Those are our featured games for this week, guys. Don't forget, you can let us know which games you want us to go over in the following weeks. Just leave a comment on that Wednesday morning show so you know, and let us know which ones you want to talk about for the following week, and you can do the exact opposite of what we think is going to happen. All right, guys, now it's time to see who's playing who in this week's matchups.
I want you! I want the stallion! He's down!
This week's matchup.
All right, guys, this week's matchups in the Wingman Fantasy Football League, starting off with Michael's Amazing Spidey at a dismal 1-3 record up against Ben's Fire Billy Napier at 2-2. What catches your attentions on this particular matchup?
Oh, what do we have here? I think we have on Amazing Spidey's team, we have Tyler Warren. Yeah. We have Tyler. Let me say that again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm waiting for the applause. We have Tyler Warren, Indianapolis tight end, going up against Fire Billy's Jake Ferguson. So this would be a battle of the random tight ends. Whichever tight end here scores is going to win.
All right, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to stick with it. I took out Chubb, which I loved. I love the matchup here for the running backs for the Texans. I just don't know how that's going to break down after Woody Marks' great breakout game last week. So I don't think I can play Chubb with confidence. I'm going with Tyler Warren, who's been a very steady. He's getting 5 catches every week, and he likes to break tackles. They give him the ball at the short yardage situation. I know you don't like that as a Jonathan Taylor manager, but he's like their fullback kind of guy in those situations.
Yeah, and the only fantasy football show talking about Tyler Warren and Jake Ferguson. Yeah.
There you go. All right, moving along here. We've got Paul's Cubert Rage getting off of his first win of the season at 1-3 up against Jimerson's Red Sox Nation at 2-2. What do you have on this matchup?
Ooh, so this is a good one. This is the battle of the running backs for me. Cubert's Rage has got Christian McCaffrey, and Red Sox Nation has Saquon Barkley. They also have 2 top quarterbacks, but I think this is the running back battle for this matchup here. I'm going to give this one to Saquon. Well, you know what? I'm not going to pick this one because I can already see the Christian McCaffrey score. So I'm not going to pick this one, but whichever running back has the high point here is going to be the team winner.
All right, moving on to our next game. We have the winless Andrews Crazy Fish looking to get his first win of the season up against one of our better teams in the league. Our Brian's under 40, who's at 3-1. Can Crazy Fish get his first victory of the season?
Well, on Crazy Fish's team, we have Mr. Daniel Jones. We have Indiana Jones.
Hey, lady, you call him Dr. Jones.
And if Dr. Jones can score over 20 points, you're looking good, Crazy Fish. And on the other side, under 40, we have Ashton Genty. Can he keep it rolling? If he can keep this rolling, he had 34 points last week. If he can keep this rolling, he's going to get the win over here. But I think that Daniel Jones, I think he's going to be back on track. I'm giving this one to Crazy Fish.
Okay, all right. This is a big-time battle here. We have Bernie's Team B, who's at 3-1, coming off his first loss of the season, up against last year's champ of Alex's They Took Our Jobs, who's at 2-2. What do you have on this matchup?
Oh, I'm already looking at it, and Kyron Williams is 0.9 points away from 30. It hurts my heart. But Team B, finishing Sunday's late games is going to be it. Once the late games are done on Sunday, he'll know his total score. DJ Moore is on the bench. Rachaad White is starting. That is the recipe for victory for Team B. On the other side, though, They Took Our Jobs. He's got a Sunday night football game. Buffalo's defense. Buffalo only has a 9-point high and a 1-point low for the first 4 weeks here. If I can keep Buffalo's defense under 10 points, I think I can get this win. But with Kyron Williams almost scoring a 30-burger, it's going to be tough.
Well, you're lucky because he fumbled a touchdown going in at the end of regulation there, so he could have even more points. So that you might be happy he's got just under 30 instead of 36 or 7.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, this is actually our biggest battle, I think, looking at the records here. Katie's King George at 3-1 up against Jeff's Always Right, our only undefeated team left at 4-0. This is going to be an epic battle, a battle for first place.
Yeah, Katie's got 2 really good players that I like here, Kyler Murray and Cam Scatterbo.
Nope. Hold on. I got it. Give me a second. I put a lot of new ones in recently.
I'm a scat man.
So if those 2 guys can pull off better than their projected scores at 20 and 13 respectively, then King George has got a really good spot to win here. Always Right, Never Wrong. He is having some running back issues. He has his spot empty as of now. He has Tony Pollard on his bench, but he's also starting Arizona defense, who Arizona's playing Tennessee. So I don't know if he's not going to play Tony Pollard. I'm sorry, not Tony Pollard. What am I thinking about here? Yeah, Tony Pollard. I don't know if he's going to move Tony Pollard into the running back spot and then fill his flex spot. He's got some work to do here. Until he does that work, King George has got the win.
All right. Oh, we have Reggie's Lions at 0-4 up against Corey's Mate Daddy 2's at 3-1. I don't know if I even want to ask you who you're going to pick here, but what's the breakdown on this particular matchup?
I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to let the players pick it. Players are going to decide who wins this. This is the wide receiver battle of the week. This is Igbuka for Lionized going up against Jackson Smith and Jigba for May Daddy Twos. They're playing each other in fantasy football, and they're playing each other in real life.
All right, that's a big time matchup. Another one here. These two teams are both at 2-2. One of these teams will come out of week 5 with a winning record, one with a losing record. We have Ken's the Fantastics up against Nick's Waddle Away, and whether you're aware or not, Nick's Waddle Away team is decimated by injuries. It's gonna be tough going for him going in the future here, but he's have a chance to sneak out an upset this week.
That's what I was going to say. Waddle Away has got injuries. He has Lamar Jackson, CeeDee Lamb, Tyrone Tracy Jr. He had Tyreek Hill, and not anymore because he's off his team now. It's tough sledding over here. With names like Fantastics and Waddle Away, though, that means they're Dolphin fans, and that means that they're used to losing. So whoever the sucks less is going to win this game, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to give this one. I'm going to give this one to Fantastics, though. Fantastics has Jalen Hurts on his team, and Jalen Hurts is going to score at least one rushing touchdown, which will put him over the top.
All right, guys, it is now time to take a look at our updated power rankings.
I have the power! By the power of Grayskull!
I'm living in it, no one man should have all that power.
Wingman Power Rankings.
All right, Bernie, why don't you take us through the updated power rankings?
All right. It looks like we have a new leader at the top of the board. Always right, never wrong, sitting at the top spot, moving up from the number 4 spot last week. Team B takes one step down to the number 2 spot. He was at the number 1 spot. That's okay. I'll take the under 40, though. He is also moving up from the 6th spot to the 3rd spot, which is great to see. Great job, guys. I think that you're going to be at the top for a while, but not until the end. Down at the bottom, we have, though, a little shuffling. Fire Billy, Amazing Spidey, and Lion Eyes round out the bottom 3. They were the bottom 3 in a different order. Lion Eyes was just still at number 14. But these guys need to get some wins under their belt so they can get out of this spot. Everyone else seems to be pretty much the same. They took our jobs, jumped up a little bit, or I'm sorry, took our jobs, fell a little bit, but everybody else seems to be the same.
All right, guys. Now let's get into this week's starts of the week. Bring it in. Take a knee. Who wants in?
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know, me!
All right, son, don't let me down. You're in.
Wingman Fantasy Football. Starts of the Week.
All right, before we pick this week's starts of the week, we're going to review how we did last week. Going into week number 4, we were 7-10 as a duo here. I was 5-4. Bernie was 2-6. And Bernie had Bo Nix last week, projected at 18.2 points. Came in with a monster showing against those Cincinnati Bengals on Monday night at 27.7. We got a plus here for Bernie and Bo Nix. His running back start of the week was Ashton Genty, projected at 13, was the highest scoring offensive player last week at 34.5 points. Looking good, Bernie, looking good. He went with Keenan Allen as his wide receiver, projected at 9.8. Unfortunately, this is the first week he didn't get in the end zone, came in at 6.2, so he was under the projection. But nice job, Bernie. Went 2-1 in week number 4 there. Now here's the story for me. I was not nearly as successful this time, as I went with Geno Smith, projected at 19 points, came in at 15.8. J.K. Dobbins got exactly his projection. He was projected at 11.1, finished with 11, so that's a push. And Matthew Golden, I thought I'd get a push here. It was really close, but he needed one more catch. Projected at 9.7, finished with 8.8. So I was 0-2. Bernie was 2-1. Now through 4 weeks, we are 9-13, where I am 5-6. Bernie is 4-7. Let's forget all about that, as we're always trying to improve, always looking forward. Bernie, who are your starts of the week at quarterback for week number 5?
Week number 5, I'm going to go with Mr. Jackson Dart. I think that he's got enough energy. He's probably had a Red Bull or 5, and I think they're set up for success for this game.
All right, I'm going with Jared Gurf as the my quarterback start of the week. They're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, and we saw what Bo Nix did. The Bengals give up the 7th most points to the position. And in our short experience of paying attention here, usually, most teams will use their running game against these bad teams. But we noticed the Lions really like to practice with their passing game. And these times where they get blowouts, we saw what they did in Chicago earlier. They just kept throwing the ball after getting a big lead. So if they stay true to form here, I think Jared Goff's got a chance for some poured-on touchdowns early in the second half. So I got Jared Goff, who's projected at 16.9. I don't know if I said that. So I expect him to beat that projection. Jared Goff's my quarterback start of the week.
I like it. And for my running back start of the week, I'm going to pay more respect to the man himself, Mr. Woody Marks. Woody is on track to have a second game of more workload, more yards, and maybe an extra touchdown.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't projected at 8.9 points. So they haven't caught up to the potential trend here. So you've got a really good chance to crush that as a terms of a success right here. So I like that as well. I'm going with a rookie running back as well. I don't like his projection so much, but the name is just too fun to ignore. I'm going with Cam Scatterbuff for the New York Giants. This week they're playing the New Orleans Saints, who give up the 7th most points to the running back position. So I am going with the Scat Man.
I'm a scat man.
Cam Scatterbuff is my running back start of the week.
Oh, man. So let me just quickly say that we both have Giants as starts of the week. Okay, moving along. My wide receiver start of the week is Mr. Quentin Johnston, QJ here. I believe that this is a get-right game for Herbert, and I think Quentin Johnson will be the beneficiary of that.
All right, moving along here. I'm looking for the breakout here. He's been very disappointing so far. I'm going with Ladd McConkey, projected at 11 points. Again, a little high for where he's been coming in. But they're playing against the Commanders. I think this has a chance to be a little bit of a higher scoring game here. And the Commanders give the 9th most points to the wide receiver. We saw what they did to allow Drake London last week in the slot. So that's why I kind of think Ladd McConkey might be able to follow suit here. I think Ladd McConkey is going to beat that 11 points, and he is my wide receiver start of the week.
Like it. I like it.
All right, guys, it is now time for my favorite Friday morning segment, and it should be yours. It is time for a 4th and long with Bernie.
Go for it.
This measurement could determine the Giants'
It is
season.
time for 4th and long.
With Bernie.
All right, lady and gentlemen, welcome back to 4th and Long. You know it. I know it. Let's get this going. So last week, the Packers and the Cowboys played 80 minutes of football, scored 80 combined points, and when it was all over, nobody won. It was a tie, 40-40. And judging by the reactions from the players on the field to the people in survivor pools fanatically texting their commissioners, nobody seemed to know quite what to do with that. So today, let's talk about ties. Should they exist? Do they make sense? And why does a tie somehow feel worse than just losing? Let's get into it here. The irony of the 2025 NFL overtime rule is that they were designed to create fairness, not frustration. After years of debate about sudden death scenarios that denied one team's offense a chance to respond, the league aligned regular season and playoff overtime rules to guarantee both teams at least one possession. Even if the first team scores a touchdown, in theory, this promotes competitive balance and eliminates the tyranny of the coin toss. In practice, as the Packers and Cowboys discovered in their 40-40 thriller in Week 4, it may have inadvertently increased the likelihood of ties. With only a 10-minute overtime period and both teams guarantee possession, the clock becomes the ultimate equalizer. Dallas kicked a field goal with 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining to take the 40-37 lead. giving Grebe plenty of time to methodically drive down the field and answer with Brandon McManus's 34-yard field goal as the final second ticked away. The result? Nobody won. Nobody lost. The elimination pool participants across America scrambled to figure out if their pick was still alive. The rule change solved one perceived problem, unfairness, but created another, a structural framework that makes the already rare tie slightly less rare. In trying to give everyone a fair shot, the NFL may have accidentally made dissatisfaction more democratic. As far as elimination pools go, the Packers-Cowboys tie exposed a dirty little secret with the NFL survivor pools. Most of them are woefully unprepared for ties, despite ties being a legitimate outcome under league rules. In the vast majority of elimination pools, where participants pick one team to win each week and a single loss eliminates them. The standard rules treats ties exactly like losses, meaning anyone who picked either the Packers or the Cowboys in week 4 was immediately eliminated. This creates an absurd situation where two teams that battled to a dramatic 40-40 standoff are treated identically to teams that got blown out by 30 points. Some pool administrators have alternative rules that allow ties to count as survival, but these are the exceptions rather than the norm. And many casual pools run by friends or coworkers don't even address the tie scenario in their rule book until it actually happens. The confusion multiplies in high-stakes pools with thousands of dollars on the line, where a tie can instantly knock out a significant portion of the field and fundamentally alter the competitive landscape. Participants who avoided both teams entirely, not because of strategic balance, but simply by luck, suddenly find themselves with a massive advantage. While those who made what seemed like a safe pick on a popular favorite are left arguing about fairness in group chats and demanding rule clarifications that should have been established before the season started. All right, the case against the ties. Ties are the participation trophies of professional sports, a monument to indecision masquerading as competitive balance. After 80 minutes of football, 7 lead changes, and 80 combined points, telling fans, well, you both tried really hard, is the athletic equivalent to ending a murder mystery with, or maybe it was all a dream. Jordan's Love post-game assessment feels kind of weird, might be the most diplomatic description of mass disappointment since the Hindenburg was called suboptimal. The psychological toll is real. Fans invest 3.5 hours of their lives, players leave everything on the field, and the reward is mathematical ambiguity. The tie counts as half a win in the standings, which is the NFL's way of saying, we'll get back to you on this. For playoff seeding purposes, it's like showing up to a job interview and being told you're maybe hired. The gambling industry, which has spent decades perfecting the art of taking people's money, is equally flummoxed. Most sportsbook grade ties as a push, returning everyone's wager like a parent breaking up a fight between siblings. Fantasy football players fare even worse, as they watch their kickers rack up points in a game their team didn't actually win, which somehow feels more insulting than losing outright. And let's not forget the fundamental American principle at stake. We are a nation that invented tie-breaking rules for everything from spelling bees to hot dog eating contests. The fact that professional football, a sport that literally measures success in inches, occasionally shrugs and say, close enough, it's downright un-American. Now, the case for the ties. Ties might be the most honest outcome in sports. Acknowledging what we all secretly know, sometimes two teams really are equally matched, and pretending otherwise requires gimmicks that make the deciding score feel arbitrary. The alternative, extending games indefinitely until someone stumbles into a victory through exhaustion or sheer randomness, turns football into a war of attrition that has more in common with medieval siege than athletic competition. From a player safety standpoint, ties are the league's way of admitting that making a 280-pound man collide at high speeds or additional periods might not be worth determining whether Dallas or Green Bay gets 0.500 more points in the standings. The rest of the world has somehow survived the trauma of drawn matches. Soccer fans in Europe have built an entire culture around the concept, complete with advanced statistical analysis of good draws versus bad draws. That makes American football analytics look like counting on your fingers. Perhaps ties are actually the height of competitive equity, a rare acknowledgement that the difference between winning and losing can be so microscopically thin that even 80 minutes of football can't definitively separate the two. The 1969 Cowboys went 55 years without a tie and seemed to do just fine, which suggests that ties are so rare they're essentially a statistical curiosity rather than a systematic problem. And there's something beautifully absurd about ties that defies our modern obsession with rankings, ratings, and definitive outcomes in an era where everything from our music taste to our sleep patterns gets quantified and optimized. A tie is sport's way of flipping off the algorithm and saying, sometimes things are just even. So where does this leave us? The Packers-Cowboys tie was a perfect storm, new overtime rules, two evenly matched teams, and a 10-minute clock that ran out before anyone could land a knockout punch. Maybe ties are just the price we pay for fairness, or maybe they're a loophole in the NFL that the NFL needs to close. Either way, one thing's clear. Ties don't sit well with us. We want winners. We want closure. We want to know who to blame in our group chats when our survivor pool pick goes sideways. But here's the thing. Ties are so rare that we might be overthinking this. Most of us will watch hundreds of NFL games and see maybe a handful of ties in our lifetime. So maybe the real question isn't whether ties should exist. It's whether we can live with the occasional weirdness in exchange for not forcing exhausted players to keep smashing into each other until someone gets lucky. I don't have the answer, but I'd love to hear what you think. Drop a comment below. Are you team abolish the tie or team ties are fine, calm down? And if you got a survivor pool horror story from last week, I definitely want to hear that too. Thanks for listening to Fourth and Long. Until next week, may all your teams score points.
I was surprised to hear that you lose a survivor pool. If you have a tie, you think it's about losing. Your team didn't lose, so I was surprised that's the default. And we almost had another tie tonight if the Rams would have just kicked a field goal instead of trying to go for a 4th and 1 there.
Oh, yeah. The survivor pool world was up in arms about this tie.
Wow.
I think just because it was so expected that Green Bay was supposed to win this game.
Right. I'm sure a lot of people pick Green Bay, of course. All right, guys, it's now time to take a look at our selections in this week's Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka. Detroit Lions. Philadelphia Eagles. Time to get on the field and tackle. All right, Bernie, I picked the Lions, and I'm going with Jared Goff and Jameson Williams. I know I'm going off the board here with Williams, but he's ready to break out in these games against the Bengals. And you went with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, the dynamic duo of Philadelphia. All right, what are you thinking about this one? I think you've got the heads up here, but I'm going for some dark horse play here.
Oh, no, definitely. You got this one. I'm going to be good. I just need to make sure that all the touchdowns are rushing touchdowns, split evenly between the two, and I'll be fine. Like you were talking earlier, they don't beat teams with their legs when they're winning. They beat them in the air when they're winning. So I think you got the right pick there.
All right. Well, thank you for that. All right, guys, it is now time to get this week's mailbag.
You've got mail.
You've got mail.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mailbag! All right, this one comes in from Mike F. Oh, I like your name, sir. This one says, hey, should I start Drake May versus the Bills or Justin Herbert against the Commanders? We'll pass this one along to you, Bernie. Who do you think should start here, Drake May or Herbert? This was close.
I'm gonna go with Herbert. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Herbert. I think Herbert is going to have a bounce back game from his interceptions last week. Drake May is gonna have a good game, but it's gonna be close. You can't go wrong with either one of these picks.
Another question here, also from Mike F. Should I play Nick Chubb or Tyler Warren, the rookie who tight end from Indianapolis? I don't know who to play there either. Mike's got some dilemmas very similar to my own. Who do you think should be on the starting lineup there, Nick Chubb or Tyler Warren?
Neither. Is the waiver wire still open?
Can I play Kendrick Bourne? Can I pick up Kendrick Bourne? Is it too late?
Yeah, right. I think that you're probably going to get more upside with Tyler Warren than you will with Nick Chubb. So I would lean with Tyler Warren.
All right, I'm not sure if I'll listen to your advice, but I appreciate it. I'll still have to mull it over, but that's just one more little birdie in my ear trying to push me in a direction there. So thank you for your opinions there, Bernie. All right, guys, everybody, I'd like to thank you all so very much for joining us once again for another episode of Wingman Fantasy Football the League podcast. You can find our audio feeds on podcast platforms all around the world, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to your podcast. If you could please find us on whatever platform you use, give us a 5-star rating and let us know what we can do to improve. If you want to see our faces, our graphics, our stuttering, and our miming, if you want to see Bernie's mime, go ahead and go to our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. When you head over there, guys, do me the favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go ahead and leave a comment so we get you in our next mailbag segment, and pick your Wingman Jam team, people, and give us your tandems for your favorite NFL duos. All right, guys, with that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty.
And remember the 5 Ds: dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Never mind. See you guys next time.